14 days spent traversing the Atlantic while perched on a ship's rudder. 4 Nigerian stowaways embarked on an unexpected journey towards Europe by clinging to the rudder of a tanker ship, leading to a harrowing 2-week oceanic voyage that would test their resilience and nearly cost them their lives. In the early hours of June 27th, Roman Ebimine Friday gathered the food he had been collecting over several months and stealthily made his way to the bustling commercial port of Lagos, Nigeria. He had noticed a large 620-foot tanker docked at the port, which he believed could carry him to Europe. Friday's target was the tanker's rudder, the sole accessible point on the immense hull that could accommodate someone not officially part of the crew. The only way to bridge the gap from the dock to the rudder was to persuade a fisherman to transport him. Fortunately, a kind-hearted fisherman agreed to help without asking for payment. With the fisherman's assistance, Friday and his food bag were hoisted onto the rudder. To his astonishment, he discovered 3 other individuals already there. These men shared his aspiration to reach Europe. They knew they might become shipmates for up to a week. The vessel, named the Ken Wave, departed from the port, setting sail into the vast Atlantic Ocean. This marked the beginning of a perilous journey that would test the stowaway's endurance and willpower. Day 1. As the ship distanced itself from Lagos, the 4 men struggled to find comfortable positions on the constantly moving rudder that guided the ship's course. Space was limited, with only 2 precarious nets strung over the water, likely left by previous stowaways for them to lie down. The motivation behind risking one's life on a ship's rudder or a fragile boat across the Mediterranean might be difficult to comprehend from an outsider's perspective. Yet for Friday and his companions, the decision was driven by a loss of hope. Friday explained, "In Nigeria, there are no job opportunities, no money, and no way for me to provide for my younger siblings and mother. Despite being the eldest son and responsible for my family, I am unable to do so." Friday had spent 3 years alternating between life on the streets of Lagos and searching for work. Every day in Nigeria felt like navigating a minefield of crime and sin, he described. The pervasive violence, conflicts, and terrorism compelled him to seek a better future elsewhere. Beside Friday on the rudder sat Thank God Opemipo Matthew Yai, a Pentecostal minister, businessman, and father of 2. His peanut and palm oil farm had been devastated by the previous year's floods in Nigeria. The loss of his livelihood, coupled with the corrupt political system, motivated his decision to leave. Nigeria had witnessed a surge in emigration due to economic downturns and record unemployment rates. Many people, like Yai and Friday, embarked on treacherous journeys across the Sahara and Mediterranean, resulting in tragic deaths. Some, like the 4 stowaways, opted to hide aboard ships. The previous year, 3 individuals had successfully stowed away on a rudder, covering 2,500 miles to the Canary Islands, a gateway to Spain. Friday and Yai believed they were following a similar route. Together with their companions William and Ziz, the stowaways grappled with boredom, discomfort, and fear during the initial days of the voyage. They conversed sparingly, prayed frequently, and struggled to stay awake as the Ken Wave charted a course for a 3,500-mile journey to Brazil across the vast South Atlantic. Day 5. In certain aspects, stowaways on ships are better off than those traversing the Sahara on foot or crossing the Mediterranean in fragile boats. Nevertheless, as the days passed, Friday and Yai began facing the unique challenges of their situation. Their strength was waning due to limited food and sleep. For bodily functions, they tied ropes around their waists and urinated over the side of the rudder. Harsh waves battered them when the sea was rough. "We dreaded the large waves," Ye admitted. "I had never seen the ocean before, but I had watched documentaries about storms and witnessed massive ships swaying from side to side. Sleep was a luxury they could hardly afford. Closing your eyes is not an option," Friday shared. "The rudder is in constant motion, 24/7. Vigilance is a necessity." The makeshift nets started to give way, requiring hasty repair work. Although they rested in these nets, Friday feared the sensation of falling and the subsequent plunge into the frigid waters below. The lack of a safety net on the open sea meant no chance of rescue if they were lost. Days blended into nights and back into days. Their conversations faded and their physical weakness increased. Friday kept track of time with his wristwatch, struggling to remember the day. Rations were divided into smaller portions, and water was sipped in tiny quantities. Dry mouths and aching stomachs became constant companions. They fought fatigue and strived not to fall. Day 10, on the 10th day, a pivotal moment arrived that the 4 stowaways had been dreading. They consumed the last of their food and drained their water supplies. Already famished from rationing their meager provisions, this marked an agonizing low point. Yai recalled, this was the most difficult moment. My mouth was parched and cracked. For the first time, I truly grasped the significance of water. By the 12th day, weakened and sick from drinking seawater, one of the men began vomiting over the side of the rudder. Friday, the strongest among them, had to support him to prevent him from falling into the water. They were now entering the stage where hunger and thirst threatened their very lives. To distract himself, Friday sat on the rudder's edge, his legs hanging over each side, scanning the horizon for any sign of interruption. On the 13th day, the vast ocean offered an unexpected gift, a whale. Friday vividly recalled this moment with joy. It was the first time I had ever seen such a thing. If I tell people back home that I saw a whale, they'll think I'm lying. But as I sat on the rudder, watching the whale, I forgot about my hunger and thirst. It was like witnessing the act of creation, a sacred experience. Day 14. At dawn on the 14th day, as the first light touched the horizon, Friday once again positioned himself at the rudder's edge, gazing into the distance. He sensed a reduction in the tanker's powerful engines, followed by the appearance of what seemed to be land, then buildings, and eventually, a boat. The Ken Wave had anchored off the coast to change and take on fresh crew. The resupply boat spotted the men. Unfortunately for Friday and the other stowaways, they were in Brazil and not in Europe. The stowaways were given medical attention and questioned by authorities. Their incredible journey was met with a mixture of admiration for their determination and concern for their well-being. 2 of the stowaways, William and Ziz, decided to take up an offer of returning to Nigeria, while Friday and Yai decided to make Brazil their new home. And there you have it, the astonishing story of 4 stowaways who hit on a ship's rudder all the way from Nigeria to Brazil. Migration is a complex subject, and it is a reminder of the incredible lengths people will go to in search of a better life as a result of economic, political, environmental, social, and personal factors. If you found this story as fascinating as we did, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe for more captivating content. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you in the next video.